What is up, guys? Matt, the owner of Tales Channel here, bringing you a brand new discussion video to basically just talk about everything that SEGA has said about Sonic's 25th anniversary and where Sonic is going and what SEGA's doing in general with their games. There's been a lot of talk from SEGA, but let's see if they act upon it, and we'll talk about what they're talking about in this video. I'm not making sense right now, but I will in a second. Anyways, here's Donnie.
Hi guys, you missed me?
It's like old times when the channel wasn't dead. Anyways, welcome back, dude. So you know a lot more about this than I do since I've been gone and out and in college and stuff. So can you kind of explain what's going on here with the Heyday stuff? I mean, I have direct quotes if you want me to say it, but I mean, I think you could give a good explanation on what's going on here.
Well, basically in the last, 3 or 4 months or so, SEGA has been very quiet, but once in a blue moon, they'll show up in a random interview with media or something like that, and they don't really say exactly what their plans are, but they sort of, tease and imply things. And this was one of these interviews that they had done. We've had another one since then that was more so by SEGA Japan's, COO now. But SEGA Europe actually gave some remarks. And this was roughly last month, in fact, they said this. And it was just before Halloween. And it was something that kind of came out of nowhere because, like I said, SEGA hasn't really been that active in terms of interviews or whatever. But basically, SEGA Europe marketing director John Rook said, SEGA has publicly apologized to the fans as the quality of console games in the Sonic franchise hasn't been acceptable over recent years. It's been tough translating that iconic side-scrolling 2D experience from the 90s into 3D, but Sonic is still huge for us, so, and I quote, the new games will be more inspired by how it played in its heyday. In other words, it sounds like they're taking more of a nostalgia approach again.
So we're basically going back to that, I don't know, Sonic 4 approach, I guess?
It sounds to me like they feel inspired by the original games and its heyday. And the thing for me is, as well, we don't know exactly what they mean by heyday.
Exactly. This could mean adventure, this could mean classic, this could mean anything, really.
From what the previous part of that quote was kind of implied, it sounds to me like at Sonic when he was at his best. And judging from the sounds at how they're making a big deal about how 3D wasn't the best, easiest turnover, it makes me, changeover, it hints to me that maybe they're hinting more Sonic 3, somewhere between that and Adventure, whatever, back when Sonic was at his prime, basically. And then also, they give out quotes like, our key purpose is to go back to what the brand used to stand for. It baffles me as to what exactly they're going with this, because, like I said, we don't exactly know what they mean by heyday. We can only, speculate and stuff like that. But,
I mean, I'm gonna play devil's advocate right here, actually. Haven't they said this since, Heroes or something?
They said that for Sonic 4, they said that roughly around Sonic Colors, they said that roughly around Generations. They've been saying that for at least 5 years. At least that.
Huh.
Does that mean that, they can be wrong about this? It depends largely on, what we're contending with here, because SEGA has said that and then proved themselves right with actions. For example, SEGA did say that they would, go back to the roots and all this and have a better experience and all that, and Sonic would be in his prime again, and, well, with Colors and Generations, they proved that right. Which is why, when I hear something like this, it's not necessarily something I would, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not necessarily something that I would ignore, but it's not something I would necessarily take seriously either. It would be something I would put in the back of my mind to keep in mind for later on when SEGA starts doing things, I
think the problem is we're going back to that same situation once again, where Sonic I don't know. They're changing the formula of the games again. I mean, this could definitely play like a classic or adventure game, but we don't know that just yet. And it's kind of, I don't know. What's the word?
It's kind of foreboding, I guess. Or
yeah, foreboding. Like, this could be a very good move that they're doing right here. Like, changing it back to the gameplay style, like nostalgia gameplay that we all love, like classic or adventure. Or this could be another, I guess I could say Lost World, where it's really like they took a working gameplay style that really just changed it dramatically. I don't know. I feel like they always take what we're used to, and then they change it out of the blue.
The thing for me is that we don't know where Sega's going with any of this. I mean, we have, they're hinting at stuff like this, but they're very small quotes that, don't really have much meaning in terms of, like, the grand scale of things, because there's not that much to go by. Even, like, before, like, Matt, before you took a break from the channel and stuff, even before then, we still didn't really know all that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very slow for Sonic news. I think probably because Aaron Weber said we won't be getting anything really of the 25th anniversary, anything
until early next year.
Until 2016.
Yeah, early next year. Yeah.
I don't know. Me and Donnie were actually talking. I actually think we may get something at the Sonic Appreciation Festival. Donnie said before to me that, that's when Sonic Runners was, said to be coming out.
Yeah, so. It was the first time we heard about Sonic Runners. We didn't know anything about what it looked like. We didn't know, how it would play or anything like that. All they said was, last year, hey, there's this new game we're working on called Sonic Runners. It'll be out soon.
And that was a leak. That was a leak, man.
That was not a leak. That was by Sega that said that.
No. I meant way before they announced that. That was just a leak. And then that just came out, Sonic Runners, and the leak is real. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Of course, there were a ton of leaks that weren't real. Cough, cough, whoopsie daisies. But, I mean...
But the thing for me is, like, that Appreciation Festival, I don't think we're going to really get anything out of that because...
Maybe like a teaser or something?
I wouldn't say so much of a teaser, but...
A picture? I don't know.
It just seems to me like Sega is focusing more on anything for next year. Like, by now, I think we would have heard at least a teaser or maybe something, because...
Nah, they're keeping very hush-hush about this one.
They're keeping very, very hush-hush about exactly what they're doing. And all we have, like, going for this, like, for us right now, in terms of information, is stuff that they put out at the Vegas Licensing Expo and various toy conventions in Europe and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do have the logo for the 25th anniversary. It's like kind of a silver logo.
Yeah.
With, the classic Sonic silhouette head thing and just Sonic 25th anniversary and that right kind of
there,
stuff.
That right there is perhaps the biggest information we even have right now on.
Yeah, that's literally it.
It's just the logo, like,
and the Heyday quote, and the Heyday, but that's literally it. That's it.
I mean, even that one quote isn't really saying all that much because, like, it's just too. I wouldn't say it's necessarily vague, but it isn't necessarily informative either. It's kind of right up the middle. And it really just sums up Sega in a nutshell this year, where it's just, you can't really understand exactly what they're doing here. Like, because there's nothing to really go by. You can't really you can't really say yes, or you can't really say no. Depending on your side of the deal. And really, your opinions it's just not really possible to make an opinion right now on things because it's just not really enough information still. That said,
It's weird.
Yeah, that said, though, it's not necessarily means that we're not going to, know anything anytime soon. I think potentially January or February. I think within the next 3 or 4 months, we will probably know what the next Sonic game is.
Yeah. And then it will be released in, like, maybe... I'm thinking holiday again. They always do that. So, I mean, they kind of did it for Fire and Ice, but, I mean, we don't know the situation with Fire and Ice. I've heard rumors. Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors that the delay was just because they weren't working on it, and I've heard the delay was just because, they were working on it. I really don't know at this point. Again, these are just rumors. We do know it was delayed, though. So, I mean, that's very interesting that Fire and Ice got delayed.
I honestly did not expect Fire and Ice to be delayed, and especially a big delay either. It wasn't just like a delay forward a month or so. This was a full-on delay to next year, which is not something you get from Sega at all. Like, if they delay something, minimum a few months. So, to hear a delay go for, like, to wait an entire year, really is something that raises a red flag in my mind. And it's the first year we have not had a significant console Sonic release, as far as I know in recent memory.
Yeah, Lost World for PC doesn't really count, since that's like a re-release. That doesn't count. Come on now. Yeah, we're talking about a new mainstream Sonic title. We're not talking about Boom. We're not talking about Dash 2. We're not talking about Runners.
Well, no,
we're talking about a mainstream Sonic the Hedgehog title.
No, I mean, like, in terms of just Sonic on consoles. This is the first year in a long time, in my recent memory of being in the community, where we had a year where there was not a single console Sonic release. Whether it be Boom, whether it be your main series game, it was just absolutely striking just how we had nothing released this year. And
here's the main question, though. Are they really working very hard on this anniversary game? Because, come on, we all know it's an anniversary game. Is it going to be something like Adventure 2? Or is it going to be something like Generations? And are they really taking this Heyday thing to the classics or to Adventure? Or even back to modern, as in Boost to Win, I guess? I mean, I really don't know what that means. Probably, I'm thinking from this quote, classic. Which is okay, as long as they do it right. Again, Sonic 4, we all know about Sonic 4, so hopefully, if they went back to Classic, it would be something like Generations did, of course. But honestly, other than that, I can't really think about what this game has to hold for us. Hopefully Sega's just not blowing smoke out of their butt, and it's just, they really do take their time on this game. They really do ensure quality over, releasing the game as is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really don't know what to really conclude about this, because we don't know what Sega's gearing for in terms of gameplay. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt they are making an anniversary game.
It's obvious. It's obvious.
If they are making an anniversary game, we at least know they have plans for Sonic's anniversary. Because of what
they definitely do. I mean, they have the logo, and they said they would talk about more about the anniversary game next year. So I mean, obviously there's an anniversary.
Yeah, they're obviously they're working on something. Definitely. The question is just, and I know we've been saying this a lot over this year. And even now, like late in 2015, as we're, approaching the holiday season and everything, even now, like, just still, the fact that we still don't know what is going on is probably the most striking thing about this year, and about Sonic right now, is that even since June, even since May, even since April, we still know just as much about Sonic, now as we did then, which is pretty much absolutely nothing. We do have Fire and Ice, but that got delayed, and, other than that outpouring of information we had when the game was initially released, that was it. We really have not... This is the quietest Sega has ever been, I think.
And it's after all these quotes that they said, they apologize for the quality of their games, they apologize. There's so many quotes of Sega apologizing, and it doesn't really seem like they're acting at the moment. Again, I find Sega hard to believe now because of their recent quality, of course. I mean, Boom really just shattered my trust in them. You get it? Shattered? You get it? But, I mean, they can definitely prove me wrong. I'm not expecting too much at this point. Hopefully when they say Heyday or whatever, I know I'm being cynical here, but I mean, I have a reason to be cynical, of course. So, hopefully when they mean Heyday, they mean, like, they're really just focusing on one specific thing and not trying to be everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, and it doesn't help that not only are we struggling to, it's like, it's a double whammy right now of of reactions, because we have the uncertainty of what Sega's doing, and then we have the certainty of how we felt about Sega this past year or two. And it's just it just combines together into a giant pool of uncertainty and not necessarily distrust, but doubt and I don't know what the word is, like reluctance. There we go. Reluctance. It's just a bunch of uncertainty and reluctance that's going on right now. And I think that really does sum up the year in a nutshell, really. It's just uncertainty and reluctance have been the factors throughout this year. And January or February, I don't think anything's going to be announced in January because although we did get slight Sonic news in January last year with the Sega restructure and all that, Sega is not the kind of people to announce things in January. They will likely, they will likely announce things come February or March, perhaps. Maybe April at the latest. And if that doesn't work, then more than likely by E3 we'll know. But, at this time, it's just not... It's not possible to really reach any conclusion right now. I mean, at this point, it's just a matter of, Sega, what are you doing? When are you doing it? And it better be
how
good.
are you fixing? How are you fixing the quality? I think that's the really big question here that a lot of people are asking. You're talking so much, but how are you going to fix it? Is what people are really asking.
Actions speak louder than words, and so far over the course of this past year, we've heard nothing but words.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think people are a bit hesitant, because even with Sega's words, we still had some, situations where, like, runners with its glitches, we've had,
Dash 2 with its glitches, and...
we had another Boom game when people really... I would say I think they're burned out from Sonic Boom as a whole. I mean, not necessarily... I think if it were just the cartoon, people would, be alright, but having yet another Sonic Boom game come out within just the past year or so, a third one, and technically a fourth one if you count Sonic Dash 2, it's too much Boom. Like, we didn't need this much Boom. I mean, okay. They're really the point is here. They're really trying to push Boom because they put a lot of money into it. It's a big initiative,
But, and the point is though, we didn't want another Boom game. That's what a lot of people are saying. Like, I think Boom really ran its course with Rise of Lyric and Shadow Crystal. Really just ruined that reputation for Boom games, and it really just, I don't know, the quality of those two games were not up to par, you have to say. Especially Rise of Lyric. Shadow Crystal did have some good elements to it, but it definitely was not, per se, a good game.
It got vastly overshadowed.
Exactly.
And like I said, the problem is, even if these two games were good, even if Shadow Crystal and Rise of Lyric ended up being, like, the best Sonic games, in the past 3 or 4 years, the problem is that they're oversaturating now, and overdoing it with Boom as a whole, like, Boom games. Like, we don't need 4 games in the span of a year that are Boom.
No, I feel like the Boom TV show, perfectly fine. Keep doing that, that's your main focus. But the games, I mean, I think Sonic Dash 2 is fine, really, but, I mean, if you're really going for mainstream games, or just games in general released on consoles, you should really focus on your main canon a lot more than a spin-off.
If Sega really is intending on sticking with making more Boom games, the way I see it is this. You alternate between one Boom game and one main series Sonic game each year. So say, for example, 2016, you have a main series Sonic title. 2017, Boom title. 2018, main series. And it just alternates between that. Like, it's a great way of keeping, funds coming in, because you have a plan B, an alternative thing to rely on, while you're working on the main series Sonic game, which you're really, going all out with. But at the same time, you have a second team that can handle Boom and focus on that, and make those and put out good content with that, and it eases up the pressure on both sides because they know they can rely on the others to put out something that's good and something like that, and keep people interested and keep people playing Sonic games and stuff like that. That's how I feel it should be going. We don't, like, 4 Sonic Boom games in the span of a year is not what you want to do. And it's like I said, maybe, for all we know, Sega probably had this in store, like, late last year, and it's been in the works for a good while. No telling. But I honestly feel like this game, Fire and Ice, should not exist. And it really...
Yeah, same. I mean, people can argue with us all we want, like they have in the last video when we said, really, we didn't want Fire and Ice to exist. But I think me and Donnie really stand to the point where we just didn't want Fire and Ice in general. We really want, them to focus on mainstream Sonic more than Boom. Even though Boom is a big initiative, we get it. We understand they put a lot of money into Boom. Me and Donnie, we really want them to focus on the mainstream canon Sonic the Hedgehog. Because that's the one we all know, we all grew up with. I'm not trying to be a classic fan or a modern... You know what I mean. I'm not trying to be... I'm just trying to say they should focus on their mascot, is what I'm trying to say.
The thing for me is, like, I understand that you're working on Sonic Boom, and I understand that Sega feels like it's a big initiative and all that, but here's the thing. So, like, you can have big initiatives. You can make it, like, this big thing and, have merchandise and all that, but here's the thing. When it openly just becomes a disaster, like Boom ended up being, like, the games and all last year, there comes a point where you say, okay, this isn't working, let's try something else, and, or at the very least, cutting back on things for a bit. You lost a lot of money in Boom, and I understand that you invested a lot, and, I hear the merchandise is selling well, and of course the TV show is doing well. You have that, and I understand that, but there's a reason why main series Sonic only gets a release every 2 years. There's a reason why a main series Mario game only comes out every few years or so. There's a reason why games take a few years to make. You shouldn't be just bombarding us with Boom every 2 months. Like, boom, boom, boom. Like, there's a point where it becomes less of a initiative and just being overkill. And right now, Boom has basically become overkill. I'm going to be very blunt.
I 100% agree. I honestly agree.
I will be very blunt. As much as I love the Boom cartoon, as cool as the merchandise may look, I'm very, very, very sick and tired of Sonic Boom. And I shouldn't feel that way, but the fact is that Sega has driven Boom into the ground so much in the past year, and it's not even just the cartoon. It's not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Boom games, and then just shoving it down our throat for the last year and a half. And it's all we've been hearing is just Boom. Nothing about main series. This is all we've been hearing.
Yeah, it's literally just Boom. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Sonic Twitter so much, but I mean, they've been saying nothing but Boom. That's literally everything. Just boom, 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 boom. And the problem is, it's straying away from Canon Sonic, which is what I'm gonna call him. Legacy Sonic, Canon Sonic, I don't care. But the point is, I think this is the last thing I'm gonna say about Boom. Boom definitely has potential to be great. The TV show's great, don't get me wrong, but I mean the games and just the series in general. They have so much in it to really make it just shine. They really wasted that potential with Rise of Lyric and Shattered Crystal. And I don't know. I feel like if they just really... What's the word? Donnie, help me out. If they really, expanded that universe.
Yeah.
I think Boom would be... we would be talking Boom in a more positive note right now, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. So, I think the point is with Sonic Boom, it can exist. It's perfectly fine. We don't care. Boom is a thing, and it's gonna stay a thing, obviously. It's not going away anytime soon. Of course, we didn't want a new Boom game, but it's happening, so okay. But I think Boom really has to step it up. If it's gonna be something big, if it's gonna be, cohesive with modern Sonic, Legacy Sonic, whatever Sonic, then it has to be on that same level. And to be honest, modern Sonic isn't really on a good level right now. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on here. You know what I mean? Boom just has to be something that people enjoy as much as canon Sonic, which is very hard to do at this point, I believe, because they kind of screwed it up.
I think even with the cartoon, it's like I said, a lot of people have been not so much. I think people really have been in agreement that even with the games, or with the cartoon being good or whatever in their opinion, and the cartoon and the merchandise doing well, even they're in agreement that things did not go well for Boom as a whole, and it
was a disaster, really.
And
I mean, people hate Rise of Lyric. They think it's one of the worst Sonic games, and that isn't even modern canon. But that's going to translate to modern canon because guess what? It's a Sonic the Hedgehog game at heart. It says Sonic on it, so therefore it is associated with Sonic. So that's really going to hurt the reputation. So, Donnie, I think we talked a lot about Boom. I think we should go back to the Heyday stuff. But I think the point is, let's just end off this video by saying what we want in the end, right? What we hope for, what we just wish for that Sega would do, and just really would get our trust back again. Because at this point, I don't think we can really trust Sega as much as I want to trust them. I can't, which is bad. But I don't know, if you're really gonna go with this Heyday stuff or Legacy whatever Sonic, just really do it right. Take your time, really just focus, and don't be a million things clashed into one. Really focus on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to go for classic, I say go for that Sonic 2, Sonic 3 Knuckles feel. Have different characters like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, maybe Amy or Shadow. Shadow would be cool in a 2D setting. I don't know. Kind of like Sonic Megamix or something like that. Just focus on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to go with adventure, then obviously just bring that adventure essence. Don't be edgy like Shadow the Hedgehog. Don't be too serious like Sonic 06. Just have clean, cheesy action, adventure, fun into one game like Adventure 1 and 2 had. Story doesn't have to be super serious, but if you're gonna have a story in the game, make it good. That's all I say. I know a lot of people say Sonic doesn't have to have a story. I agree, definitely. But if you're going to have a story inside of a Sonic the Hedgehog game, make it good. But most importantly, make the gameplay good, because the story can be amazing, but the gameplay can be crap, and then the whole game's crap. If gameplay is bad at the end of the day, then the whole game is going to be bad, and we all know that. That's what happened with Sonic 06, definitely. That's what happened with Sonic Boom as well. So really just focus on the gameplay, because that is literally the main complaint. Don't try to be a fast platformer. Don't try to be a beat 'em up. Don't try to be everything at once. Just stick to one thing. Really build upon it. Like Mario does. Mario has a set formula. Mario, when he transitioned to 3D, you definitely had a different gameplay style, but you had all the essence of Mario into one 3D game. Super Mario 64 is a fantastic example. Super Mario 3D World even is a great example, because of course it went to 3D, but you still have the classic elements of Super Mario in there. So it feels like a Mario game. When you keep changing up Sonic the Hedgehog, it's not going to work, because people are going to be like, what the heck is this? You know what I mean? So really just focus. And if the game does well, if you get a lot of sales and it's somehow the best Sonic game in ages, stick to that formula. Stick to it. If you're going with 2D, then just make a series for 2D Sonic and a thing for 3D Sonic. Literally, just have them separate. That's all you need to do, man. In my opinion. Your turn.
I think at this point it's just the Sonic franchise is at a very, I wouldn't say fragile time period, but I'd say Sonic is definitely at a very critical period in its time right now, in the franchise as a whole, because it really, this would be a good time more than ever for Sega to have a good game. They need the next Sonic game to be a good game right now. I think there's no question about it, and you know, if it doesn't end up being good, I've heard people say that they're done with Sonic. Some people, like many
Yeah,
friends
honestly, if this game isn't good, I think I'm going to consider picking up other things. Because, I mean, at this point, if you're really just gonna promise people, like, this and this and this and this and this, and then not deliver, then what's the point, honestly?
I think that would be the final straw for people, but...
Yeah.
And it seems to that, because this is really only one game that really went this route, you know? Even Lost World, it was kind of up in the middle. Like, it wasn't necessarily good, but it wasn't necessarily bad either. But all it took was one disaster of a game.
I mean, let me... You mind if I interrupt you real quick?
Well, okay.
I think the problem with Lost World 2 was they had a perfect gameplay formula. Sonic Generations was a great game, and people thought also it was a great game. And then they completely changed it in Lost World for literally no reason. I don't understand. Like, of course they're trying to be different, and they're trying to be spontaneous and all that, but, I mean, as I said, what Mario does, he doesn't really change the gameplay style, he just adds new elements. I don't see why Sonic has to change.
See, this is where I can probably answer that, because Mario, the main problem that people have about Mario is that he doesn't actually do anything. Like, yeah, he does stick to the same formula, but he's been sticking to that for years and years and hasn't really changed it. And that's the main criticism that people have had with Nintendo, is that they keep sticking, they haven't experimented, they haven't innovated or anything with Mario whatsoever since Galaxy. And it has been just Mario game after Mario game of pretty much nothing new. And it got stale after a while. And even then, like Super Mario 3D World, I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it's not my favorite Mario game simply because of the fact that there's nothing about it that I could care about, you know? Because it's just nothing different, nothing new, nothing innovative, like Galaxy or Super Mario World or the original Mario games, or even Sunshine. Like, Sunshine, I don't like Sunshine, but even I will admit, they at least tried something, you know, they kept to this formula, but did have something new to kind of refresh it in a way, you know, like with how, with the Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, you had the original jump and stuff like that, in Mario 2, you had the, vegetable picking up and throwing, and Super Mario Bros. 3 refined Super Mario Bros. 1, and had, you know, more power-ups and stuff like that. That's what Mario used to be like, where they tried things new, but kept to the same formula, just not really reinvented it, but added, you know, something that would make that game unique and stand out from the others, you know? Yeah. And the Mario Land games went that route, especially the Mario Land games, holy crap. And Mario just, it's at that state where it's just stalled, where the franchise, it's not doing bad, but people feel like it could be even better if Nintendo would actually be ambitious with Mario like they used to, and just, although stick with the formula, at least make something that would make that game, Mario game, memorable and, you know, stand out from the others. And the reason why I'm talking about Mario and all this is because, well, Sega was starting to go down that same route. And I'm going to be quite honest, as much as I love the Boost games, by Generations, I was starting to get tired of it. And I even made that, like, notable in, like, various commentaries and stuff like that in 2012 and 2013. I was getting tired of the Boost formula. And when Sonic 4 Episode 2 came out, I was very happy to see it, if only because it was just a break from the Boost formula. I honestly feel like if they had released another Boost game, I probably would have felt like, can we get something new, please? You know, I think there's a point where you can only stick with the formula for so much, and I think the issue that the Boost formula had was that Sega really couldn't play around with it all that much. Because Sonic's, it's just basically boost, 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 and you can't really do anything else. And they had to change that up and the fact that Sega actually could not do anything else with that formula except by sticking a second formula next to it in Generations, you know, tells me there's not that, they couldn't work with that formula all that much. As fun as it was for people, it wasn't really manageable, you know? And I think Sega thought, you know what? As fun as this is, it's starting to get stale. It's not really something we can work with anymore. Like, it's too limited for us. So let's go to a more simplistic formula or a more basic one.
Let's go to a Mario formula. My bad.
Well, not a Mario formula, but like give Sonic a move that he can work with more, and play around with more. And that's probably why they came up with the idea of parkour, because unlike Boost, they can work with parkour more and play around with it, innovate it, do things that they couldn't do with the Boost formula. And it blew up in their faces though, because they got too ambitious instead of just simply taking a mere little parkour thing that they did, and they just ran away with it and made it too reliable on that. I think if they made the level design less reliable on parkour and made it more similar to, I wouldn't say more like the Zelda DLC, because quite frankly that had no obstacles whatsoever and wasn't really it just, as much as it was open world, I don't think it would have worked all that much as a full game. But I think if they had simply made the parkour not a necessity in the level design, I think people would have been more forgiving. That if they made the wisps handle better, and they didn't have the motion controls being the way they were, and
gross,
and they were too experimental with it. I think Sega got a little too ambitious with Lost World, instead of just simply putting it, simply just taking parkour, putting it out there, and see how people react. Instead they built a game entirely around parkour, instead of just making it like an optional move or something like that, like something that you didn't have to rely on, kind of like the spin dash in Sonic 2. It's a new move that helped make that game stand out, but you didn't need to use it. And that's what made Sonic 2 great, in my opinion, was just the only thing you needed to do in the original Sonic games was run and jump. The other moves just helped enhance your gameplay, and that's what the parkour should have done, was enhance it, not, force it. But I think what Sega has done now, do I feel like they've really learned their lesson from Lost World and Rise of Lyric? I honestly don't know. But if there's one thing Sega has proven time and time again, is that if they have a disaster like, say, Rise of Lyric or 06 or, something like that, they do pay attention. But exactly how they'll react to it, obviously, if Aaron Weber made a joke about on Tumblr that, we promise Fire Notch will be good this time, they're aware that that Rise of Lyric was not that good. So, I mean, at the very least, we know Sega did not, got the hint, that people did not like Rise of Lyric. What they're gonna do, what their response is, we don't know yet. We've gotten taste of it, with the Heyday quote, but until we see a trailer or something very specific like that, there's just no room to judge right now. So, I rambled on. I'm sorry, Matt.
It's all good. No,
this is your channel. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I agree and disagree with some of your points, obviously, but I mean, I get what you're saying. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let's just stop there, because we've been talking about, a blue hedgehog for about 40 minutes now.
This is what happens when your channel dies.
This is probably why I'm single, man. Anyways.
No, this is what happens when your channel dies. We haven't spoken together and been in the Matt and Donnie's channel pairing for so long that we can't stop talking.
Exactly. I mean, we have so much to say.
Yeah, I mean, and especially since, like I said, with your channel taking a break and all, we just didn't have any discussion videos for a while, and a lot has happened. And
Sonic News just dying as well. There wasn't really anything to talk about. So,
Penders.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, So, thank you, Donnie. Be sure to check out, as TSSE News, Sonic Paradox, his YouTube channel, his Twitter. Everything's in the description down below. And be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is kind of coming back, finally. I'm trying to figure out a schedule to really come back, and we might do some cool things. I can't really say the cool things yet, but it's pretty cool. It's cool.
It's going to be an interesting few months, I think. I'm very curious to see where the franchise is going to be going in the next few months. And I'm crossing my fingers and hoping for the best, because, well, I'm a part of a website, Sonic Paradox, that's 10 years old now, since we've last.
Good job.
Yeah.
You did it.
We've gone up in the world, son. I hope you're proud of me. TSSE is like, oh god, I think like 16 years old now. They originally came about in 1999, and then
wow.
And then
that's like 3 years older younger than me.
Yeah, like
I was born in '96. What the heck, man?
Boy, has the Sonic fan base really grown up, hasn't it?
It has, but we're still trying to find the perfect Sonic game.
Well, you see, the perfect Sonic game would be made by Ken Penders, obviously.
Actually, you're wrong. It's Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car.
It's Waku Waku Sonic Penders car. There you go.
We're done here. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you all next time in the next discussions video. Be sure to say what you guys want to see us discuss about down below. Me and Steven Ux will be doing a Sonic chat soon, so don't worry about that. And in the comments, be sure to give us your opinions, your thoughts, and speculations. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. See you all next video, and have a fantastic rest of your week.